Hey, it looks like we're still in Chapter 12, Matrices. Oh, 12.3, Part 2, Matrix Multiplication. Chewy, do you know about matrix multiplication? I'm pretty sure that means no. So we're going to teach Han and Chewy how to do matrix multiplication. Now, the first thing that you need to know about matrix multiplication, where we're multiplying two matrices together, not a scalar times a matrix, is that A is going to have to be an M times N matrix, and B is going to have to be an N times P matrix, so that the number of columns of A has to equal the number of rows of B if we want to do A times B. And that will give us a new matrix that will be M rows, P columns. So these two have to match, and then we'll end up with a new matrix that has the rows of A but the columns of B. And the other thing that's really important is that matrix multiplication is not commutative. So most of the time if we can do A times B, we cannot do B times A unless they're like square matrices. So it usually only works one way. All right, let's do an example. Let's say A is a 2 by 3 matrix, which is 3, 1, negative 1, 2, 4, 0. And B then would have to be a 3 by something matrix. We'll say it's 3 by 4. So it is 1, 2, 0, negative 2, 6, negative 5, 1, 3, negative 1, 4, 2, 5. All right, when we multiply these two together, we're going to have a new matrix that's going to be the rows of A by the columns of B. So that's going to be a 2 by 4 matrix. So we can kind of set it up. It's going to be 2 by 4. And we know we're going to have 2 rows, 4 columns. So we can kind of set it up here. We know we're going to have to figure out these 8 entries. Now this is the tricky part, so you want to pay attention, Chewy. All right, how you get each entry is you multiply the entries of the row of A by the entries of the column of B, and you add them together. So here we would do, for this first row, first column, we would take the first row of A and multiply each of those entries by an entry in the column of B. This is why it's important that the columns equal the rows. And then we add those up. So we're going to do the 3 times the 1, which is 3, the 1 times the 6, which is 6, so 3 times 6 is 9, and then the negative 1 times the negative 1 is positive 1. So 3 plus 6 plus 1 is 10. All right, we're still in the first row, but now we're in the second column. So now we're going to multiply the first row by the second column. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 times negative 5, so 6 times plus negative 5 is 1, and then plus negative 4, so that will be a negative 3. And then this one we would do row 1 times column 3, and then this one we would do row 1 times column 4. Looks like I'm missing something here. Oh no, we're good. Now to get these ones on the second row, we would now do the second row times each of the columns. So let's do this very last entry. This very last entry is in the second row, fourth column. So we're going to multiply second row times fourth column. So negative 4 plus 12, which is 8, plus 0. So that's going to be an 8 there. And we would do this for each one of these. And you can see it takes a little bit of time, and you kind of have to multiply and add in your head, or you do it out on a separate sheet of paper. So unlike scalar multiplication and regular just matrix addition or subtraction, it might be helpful to do this on the calculator. Oh, we can use a calculator! All right, so let's get our calculators, and let's put in these two matrices. So matrix edit A. A was a 2 by 3, and it was 3, 1, negative 1, 2, 4, 0. And And let's edit matrix B. It's a 3 by 4. And it is 1, 2, 0, negative 2, 6, negative 5, 1, 3, negative 1, 4, 2, 5. All right, now let's multiply them. All right, so we're going to go matrix A times matrix B, and we're just going to get those from the names. And if I multiply these together, I will get this new matrix, which has, so far it looks like we did our entries correct. So 10, negative 3, and then, so you can see we're going to get the 2 by 4 matrix. So here it may be useful to do the matrix multiplication on your calculator. Now, one of the reasons we do matrix multiplication is to help us solve some problems. So here's an example of a problem from the book. All right, so here we have Brett runs a small business cleaning and detailing vehicles for hotel customers. He offers 3 services: cleaning the interior, cleaning the exterior, and waxing. The number of hours required and the cost per hour of each service are given by the following matrices. Find the product of the matrices and interpret the results. All right, so here's the matrices that are representing what he's doing. So he has the hours that it takes him to do the interior of a small car, the hours it takes him to do the exterior of a small car and to wax, and etc. Large car and SUV, interior time, exterior time, waxing time. And then the hourly rate that he charges for each of those. So what would happen if I multiplied each of these? Well, this would be a 3 by 3 matrix times a 3 by 1, which is allowed because these are the same, and my result will be a 3 by 1 matrix. So I'll end up with a matrix that looks like this with 3 numbers in it. And what will it tell me? Well, probably the first row has something to do with the small car, and the next row has something to do with the large car, and the last row has something to do with SUV. And if you think about matrix multiplication, what we're going to do is do the 0.5 for the small car interior times the $24, 0.25 time for the amount of times for a small car exterior times the $30, and then the 1 hour for waxing a small car times the $24, and add those all up. And that will give us this result right here, and that should be, the result should be the total cost to do interior and exterior and wax a small car. And then this one should be the total to do a large car, and this should be the total to do an SUV. So let's see what those totals are. So we're going to go into the matrices. We're going to edit A to be a 3 by 3, and we're going to put in these numbers. And then we're going to go to edit matrix B, which is a 3 by 1, and oopsie, not a 31, a 3 by 1, and it is 24, 30, 24, oopsie, 24. All right, and then we will multiply these two together. So matrix A times matrix B, and there is our result. So again, we're going to have these 3 numbers. This is the total cost for the small car to do all 3 interior exterior wash. This will be the total for the large car, and that's the total for the SUV.